This is Basketball More Than a Game with your hosts, Coach Goins and Coach Quick. Former high school coach and player have teamed up again to share their knowledge of the game and life skills on and off the court. Now here are Coaches G and Q.
All right, this is Coach Goins along with Coach Quick, and it is another fantastic episode of Basketball More Than the Game, the hottest podcast this side of a basketball court. So you know what? I know he can't keep it, the excitement after coming off of that great win last night. So I'm going to kick it over. Man, I'm going to kick it down to North Carolina so we can talk to the hottest co-host this side of a basketball court. Coach Quick, what's popping?
Hey, what's going on, Coach G? You want to know what's popping with Coach Q? Well, Coach Q is so excited about our special guest via telephone. I feel like I'm inside the Dean E. Smith Center on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, waiting to hang an ACC championship and a national championship banner. After this short break, we're going to come right back and introduce our very special guest. So make sure those sneakers are laced up tight.
Folks, the table is set. You Carolina fans, I know you are still either on Franklin Street, because I know you didn't go to bed last night, but wherever you are, make sure you got to buckle up because we are bringing you a dynamic show today. Coach Quick, you have the honors.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you all to our very special guest. He's a former member of the University of North Carolina Tar Heels and the 1993 National Championship team, Mr. Ed Geth. Welcome to Basketball More Than a Game.
Man, thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me, man. Coach D just had me hyped up when he said Franklin Street. I'm like, oh man, I want to ride down there right now. You know,
yes, sir.
Man, I can tell you must have been down there a couple times, Coach. If you know the excitement of Franklin Street after big wins, it is unlike any place on earth. I promise you.
Well, you know what? We certainly appreciate time out for you to jump on the podcast, and certainly appreciate you and Coach Quick dialoguing and getting everything locked and loaded. And you know what, folks? We're excited, not just because, Carolina won. We're excited because it's ACC tournament week. It's, get ready to get in selection Sunday. We've got somebody that is on the show that has walked in those shoes, that has cut down the nets, has won championships in one of the biggest all-time programs, and played for probably one of the greatest men, not just coach, one of the greatest men that ever graced our planet, and that's Coach Smith. So with that, I'll kick it over to Coach Quick for the first question.
Yes, sir. Coach Geth, can you talk with us about the recruiting process for you coming out of high school and describe what it was like being recruited by Dean Smith and Bill Guthridge and ultimately playing for them?
Man, Coach, it was a pinch me situation. It was one of those things where I myself didn't realize how good I had gotten, because all I did was just play hard. I believe I was unpolished, kind of lanky, 6'7", 6'8" kid that really all I could do was rebound and dunk the ball. But I did it with such ferocity that it got a lot of attention. It got me invited to a lot of camps, and then I was fortunate enough to play on the Boo Williams Summer League travel team, which everybody knows is pretty well known, but it wasn't as known back then. We didn't get that Nike money that all these kids are getting now. We actually had to go out and wash some cars and do a few fish fries and get some pictures. We had to do it the old-fashioned way. And we all, 10, 15 of us fit in a 15-passenger van and would drive up and down the East Coast playing in tournaments. So a lot of that, just happened to get me some attention. And I remember it was after getting invited to the Nike ABCD camp. And I don't know, how they do it now. I know there's so many exposure events, but that one was a big one. And I happened to just play well as far as just I remember Coach Guthrie saying, I felt like you you tried to get every rebound in the gym, which is true. That's pretty much what got me in Carolina was my effort, and the recruiting process was just awesome. I mean, Coach Smith would come to town. It seemed like everybody would know. Places shut down, and it's like a hush comes over the crowd when he walks in the gym. And the thing about it, like Coach D said, he's more than just a great coach. He's such a great guy. He doesn't have that arrogance that you would think a coach of his magnitude would have. I mean, he, didn't want any special treatment. He sat in the bleachers just like anybody else. He didn't want to, get a special chair and sit to himself, which probably, somebody of his stature would demand. But he was just real down to earth. And, they came, and I was raised with my grandmother, and they came, sat in my grandmother's house, and, told them, what Carolina was about. And I think what really sold me and my family was he didn't have a list of, where we would play or, how many minutes I would have. He didn't even have a list of the guys that went to the pro. He had every single player, every single letterman and manager, and what their occupation was, like what job they had, what degree they had. Wow. And that showed me he cared about his players more than basketball. Before he even presented anything basketball, that was the very first thing he presented. He had us right there.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, I remember seeing something where Coach Smith, he sent all his former players out a $200 check, and stated for you all to just have dinner on him one night. So that the class act that he was just simply amazing.
Yeah, that was a real thing. People sometimes be thinking that's a myth. No, that was a real thing. He really had a fun, I guess, stressful setup for his passion to take, for us to, I almost didn't want to cash it. I kind of wanted to frame it, but I was like, Coach Smith asks you to do something, you kind of do it. So yes, I did it. I honored him and took the family out, and we enjoyed the night out, with the kids, and it was a beautiful thing. The fact that he would think of you like that, even after you graduate, it would be nothing for you maybe once or twice a year, because he's a super busy man. That your phone would just ring and he would call wanting nothing. He would say hello. He would hear that you had a newborn kid. He would send like a Carolina onesie or a Carolina socks for your new kid. And Coach Guthridge would write a handwritten letter, telling your kid, I want you to read this and know how awesome your father was. Little stuff like that. Just goes a long way. And then I couldn't say anything without saying the secretaries that he had. I mean, I don't know how he found these people. I think he literally went and scraped the salt of the earth of people and hired them in their office, because every birthday they would remember, they would call. They would, every time you had a family photo, they would call and ask and say, hey, we got a refrigerator of all our Carolina alum. And they would just, stay in touch. It's unbelievable family atmosphere. It's not just talk.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Coach G, I see you standing on the baseline. I'm going to kick this bounce pass to you.
Well, listen, man, and you know what? Listen to Coach Ed Geth talking about, just how a basketball program is built foundationally from the core. Talking about the behind the scenes, and people don't realize, and the whole time you were saying that, Coach Ed, here's the thing that was really standing out in my mind, and I'm not saying this because it's the title of our podcast. Basketball is more than the game. It's about it's about friendship. It's about relationships. It's about going. Think about that when you have a birth of a child, and then here's a letter come in, and it's your birthday, and then your former coaches are calling you, and those are the things that's the separation between elite programs and basketball programs. Those are the that's the difference between what makes players come back, what makes people, bleed the Carolina Blue, what makes people just understand and be a part of such an awesome, awesome organization. And again, and I'm just not saying this to Coach Smith, and I know that Coach Guth, and same thing with Coach Williams. They carry the tradition, but you guys, you lived that life. You were there. You were part of it. You were able to travel, the network, and the things, and we're going to be talking about that. But before we get into that, we've got on our very special guest, former North Carolina Tar Heel, and I guess that's not the right thing to say, because once you're a Tar Heel, you're always a Tar Heel. But our guest on today's show is Coach Ed Geth, and we're going to step away, and we'll be back after this commercial break.
Looking for a smarter way to shop for your insurance for you and your families? Look no farther. There is help. With several different companies and plans to choose from, whether it's life insurance or Medicare supplemental plans, finding the right plan has never been easier. Licensed with multiple companies and able to shop various rates, plans to help find the best plan for you and your budget. Independent insurance broker Curtis Jackson is the one to call for help. Call Curtis now at 919-614-5796 for a no-cost consultation. You're listening to Basketball More Than a Game with Coach Goins and Coach Quick.
All right, hey, so we're back in. This is Coach Goins along with Coach Quick, and our very, very special guest is Coach Ed Geth. You say Coach Ed Geth. You may remember him. He donned that Carolina Blue, and what a timely show coming off of that great win in Durham last night. And before I kick it over to Coach Quick, I'm going to ask Coach Geth to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. And let's, if you don't mind, Coach Quick, let's talk about that game last night. And I want to go ahead. And kick it over to Coach Ed Geth and let him kick us off. Coach, you got it.
All right. You want me to just give my announcement?
Yes, sir. Yes. But just take us from sitting on that bench, because you've been there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Go ahead.
The one thing about playing in Cameron, I mean, it's just, man, it's a special place to play. The secret, I would say Duke likes to think of it as their biggest home court advantage, and it is. I'm sure they've won way more than they've lost there, and I'm sure it definitely fuels them during games. But for us in North Carolina, we get charged up just as much, because those fans, they're in your face, they're irritated. We don't really get as intimidated as you would think. It's definitely fires you up. It makes you definitely want to shut them up even more. And I don't know, you get a sense of excitement just playing in that building. And for the most part, I've got to say Coach Davis, who's taken probably a lot of, beatings, ups and downs, he stepped into a job that, not many guys can handle the pressure and the expectations of being a Carolina head coach, a UNC head coach for the fans. But I can tell you something, the alumni, we all love Hubert Davis because we know he's a good, God-fearing, great guy. He's just a good person. He really is. He just will give you the shirt off his back. He's emotional. He cares about people in general. So somebody like that, you want them to win. So the fact that he was able to, kind of spoil Coach K's retirement, it couldn't happen for a better person in his first year, wins 20 games, has to build a few fractured relationships and just get things back on track the Carolina way. He's going to have some dynamic recruits coming in next year. I can't wait to see what he does and take the program to the next level.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Coach Quick.
Yeah, just checking out that game last night. And I was telling Coach Goins before we came on air, over the last 10 or 12 ball games, it made me realize for real, Hubert Davis is absolutely the right man for this job. He went in there last night and he stole the show. He out-coached Coach K in Coach K's final home game. I mean, he had his guys ready. As I told Coach Goins, I knew Hubert had his guys ready during his press conference.
Yeah,
He sat there and said,
embarrassed the first time. You know what I mean? His confidence didn't swagger. He adjusted the game plan. He recognized a strong mismatch with the high ball screen. The middle of the floor ball screen just opened up so much lane space for they get downhill. He created such mismatches and just had Duke's rotation all scrambled, and we got a lot of better looking shots, got a lot better cutting to the basket. Guys rebounded the basketball. We just looked really good. You could tell the game plan came together.
Yes, sir. It absolutely did. And like he said, we weren't going over there for that pageantry. We're going over there to win a ball game. And that's exactly what we did. And then I seen a stat that said on March 5th, Coach K and Duke was 1-4 against North Carolina. I looked at my wife last night and I told her, I said, they're going to be 1-5 after tonight. I was very confident, and we came up out of there with a win.
Listen. You know what I told him? Because Coach Quick and I were dialoguing after the Duke Carolina game in Chapel Hill, and I told Coach Quick right there, and Coach Ed, I was like, listen, I said the ultimate test is gonna come when they go to Durham, and a lot of times, and the reason why I was saying that because a lot of times people were just looking at the game, but I knew what was coming. I knew it was going to be all of the fanfare. It was the last game in Cameron, and I said if them Heels get on that bus and they take that 9-mile ride and go up in there and put something on them, I said it's going to put them on their heels, not the Tar Heels, but it's going to put the Blue Devils on their heels, and it's going to be a gut shot. It's going and actually, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, it's going to be some carryover into the ACC tournament.
Absolutely.
And people don't think because you don't shake that because the pressure now is on Duke because number one, even though Coach K who he is, I really didn't. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I don't like what he said when he came out after the game. I really don't. Because I get the emotions, but to walk out and say it was unacceptable. I mean,
I don't mind the statement in the locker room with your team.
Correct.
That's a great statement for, hey, we didn't get the job done. You can use that to fuel your team. I feel like when you have fans and you have school alumni all there having a moment for you, let that be the moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that I thought it kind of put a little berating of his players. You know what I mean? Like, they already probably felt bad for losing. They didn't need to be chastised,
right.
Kind of, but he didn't say it to them personally, but it's still, I don't know. I didn't think that moment was a moment to dwell on that. I mean, they were there for you. Let that moment. And this is no knock on Coach K. I think he's a wonderful coach. He's a Hall of Famer, all-time great. I respect the man. May not like him very much because it's just inbred in us. But I do respect what he did. But I did feel that statement could have been made more for the locker room and not for that.
Exactly, and that's all I was. That's where I was going. His body of work speaks for itself, and I certainly appreciate what he's done for Coach Capel when he allowed him to be honorary coach and all of that, all of that. But when he came out, when he walked to the mic, I was like, okay. And for some reason, I just did not feel. I said, where is he going? Then he went out and said this. When he said this was impromptu, right then I was like, okay, so I knew that wasn't going. All right, Coach Quick, I'll go ahead and kick it back over to you.
Yes, sir. Coach Geth, could you talk with our listening audience about your playing days overseas in Sweden, Saudi Arabia, and Singapore?
Okay. Great country. Sweden was a wonderful playing experience. Again, blessed and fortunate that even though I wasn't I would say a star player, I was more of a role player while I was there in Carolina. Born into my role, Coach Smith was so gracious to still have confidence in me and help me select agents that felt I was still talented enough to play basketball for a living. If I still wanted to do that, I didn't want to kind of get into coaching right after, like a lot of guys do. I felt like I still had that that bug in me to keep playing, and went overseas to Sweden. Had a wonderful time. Lovely country. The only knock is that probably from about early to mid-November till about mid to late March, the weather is minus 22 degrees. The sun goes down way earlier than it is here. Maybe 3 o'clock,
Wow.
4 o'clock. No sun. Yeah. It can get a little kind of dreary just living if that's not what you're used to. And so the weather just didn't necessarily agree with me, brother. But I had a great time. Sweden was a beautiful country, very peaceful. I want to say the time I was there, I think it's probably gotten worse. But the time I was there may have been 6 murders in the country or the city I was in. I don't know if it's the city or the country, which is unreal. And so it was very peaceful, very nice people. I played some good basketball. We made it to the championship game. I was a all-league player, led the league in rebounding. Just had a good time. I then ended up going to Saudi Arabia the very next year. Probably should have stayed in Sweden. Saudi Arabia was a little repressed for me. As you know, I'm a true believer of Christian faith. It's a Muslim country. There was no animosity or anything like that. They were very welcoming. I don't want to speak ill of them. It was a very welcoming country. Had a good time, but you know, when certain practices are just not your practice, you can feel a little at odd over there at times. And so the culture may not have been a great experience. The basketball was pretty good. We won a national title with that team, competed in what they call the Middle Eastern Cup, did well there. And then I moved on to Singapore, which is another great country, beautiful, clean country, Asian country. And I just say this, basketball has just been great to me. I'm naming all these places over the world that I was blessed to go to just to play basketball. I thank God every day. Like, that's one of my prayers, that, you know, the game that I just love playing, that I just, you know, was goofing around with when I was a little kid, gave me the opportunity to get an education, to travel and see the world, to meet new people, to mentor young lives. And so I don't take any of this for granted, even though I'm telling you the stories like, you know, they were happenstance, but I really enjoyed every opportunity. Got to meet a lot of good people in Singapore. It was crazy because I was probably the tallest person maybe in the country. Very tall people, and I'm kind of big in nature. So the one thing that I would say, you know, I'm used to, you know, the tall jokes, or people coming up to me like, "Oh my God, how tall are you?" But they're not a very expressive people. So the little kids would look at me, but they wouldn't say anything. So they would run up and touch me on my leg like I was a novelty, a Godzilla or something, and then they would run off. So it was it was odd kind of being a sideshow, but I still had a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach G, I'm gonna kick it over to you.
Well, you know what, Coach Quick, as I sit here and listen to Coach Geth, you know, talk about, you know, how basketball has blessed him, and it's blessed, and it's actually it's blessed all three of us. Of course, not on the level that Coach Geth has done, but the people that we've been able to meet, you know, through the show, through just our connections and being around the game, and really making a difference. So you know, you talking about the world travel and being able to go over to the different countries, and thanking God each and every day for that. I think that's a lot of times, and I'm just, you know, saying this to commend you for being your transparency, your vulnerability, to allow us to take us down that path, because a lot of times people don't realize that, number one is, you know, each and every day we strive to be better than we were the next day, or that's what I try to do. And as as you continue to coach and mentor young men, everything that you're telling our listening audience, and we challenge our listening audience to listen to this show, share this show, and we're just not saying it because on the heels of the Duke game last night, or because Coach Geth is a Tar Heel, but we're telling you this because number one, he's a man, and he's been there and he's done that, and like we say, he's got a T-shirt, and with that is we try to provide that platform, and we want to definitely thank Coach Geth for allowing us to see to have a glimpse of how life can be when you believe in yourself and other people believe in you. So we certainly appreciate that. So Coach Quick, I know you got another one teed up for you, and I see you getting your feet set behind that. I guess you feel like you're gonna shoot the three like Manic was shooting the three, but I'll go ahead and kick it over to you.
Yes, sir. Coach Giff, my next question is, could you talk with our listening audience about your college coaching stops at Wofford College, Marshall University, and North Carolina Central University?
Oh man, well you guys have gone through my life. Wofford College. Well, I got my first stop there after coaching I started in high school, and it's crazy. I didn't even think I was going to get into coaching. It was just one of those things, like I was telling you earlier, how Coach Smith cares about you beyond you playing there, beyond your playing ability. He was the one that helped me realize, like, we all work camps. All the players work camps, and some people are better than others. But he always commended me for how well I worked with young kids. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm just being myself, or try to do a good job for coach. And he's telling me, you have an ability to make kids understand and translate what you know. That's what coaching is. He always told me that coaching is teaching. Of course, I was young, I didn't think that, but it really is. And it's like you said, Coach G, that is mentoring young men is more about shaping their worldview and giving them something to believe in. And I done high school ball for about 7-8 years, and a guy who was a JV player at North Carolina and a manager, then a JV player, ended up getting a head job at Wofford College, and he reached out to me. And starting there was probably the best way for me to start in college basketball, because Wofford is one of those high academic institutions. So you can't just because you play ball, they're going to give you a scholarship. You have to not only have the qualifications to get in, by the NCAA standards, you got to get in their school. So they don't relax the standards just because you're an athlete. So it changed the type of kids that I recruited. Had a lot of high character kids, and spent a lot of time in private school, Christian schools, and just learning how to recruit a different type of kid. And those kids sometimes don't have that same edge as a kid, like myself, who didn't have many opportunities, but was just, felt like basketball may have been your way, out of your situation. So, I learned creative ways to coach there. I had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people, and then moved on. Got noticed by Royce Chadwick, and kind of wanted to see what I guess higher level basketball, a college that has a bigger sports budget, and Marshall was definitely that. I mean, they got a lot of love for their sports team, especially their football. So, it was a great atmosphere there out in Huntington, West Virginia. Got to see different cultures, got to see how, West Virginians, do things. A lot of, there's deep South country and there's mountain country. Mountain country is a little different. That's all I'm going to say about that. We might not be able to talk about mountain country.
Amen. I'm with you.
Mountain country is a little different. I had a lot of fun, though. As you can see, my personality, I'll talk to anybody. So I met some really, really, really fun folks, and got to play or coach some high-level basketball, Conference USA, and just had a good time. We were pretty competitive with that league of so many teams. It was just, so hard. I think we finished middle of the pack, but it was a very competitive. And I was coaching girls at the time, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I was coaching girls, women. That's the politically correct term. I was coaching women, and then Royce Chatton, the head coach, he ended up taking a job down in Texas. I wasn't quite ready to go that far from Texas because at that point my family had not moved where I was, so I wanted to be closer to family. I didn't want them moving around, so I took a job back in North Carolina, North Carolina Central. We ended up turning that program around, bringing in probably the first two all conference players there in a while, competed in the MEAC. I worked under Vanessa Taylor, got to hang out with Lavelle Moten. What a great basketball mind he is, and what a great job he's doing there. And I got to see firsthand how he's, changing that program around and doing a lot of good things. And, but at this point, now I had done college coaching for almost 10 years at that point. And the one thing I will say, and again, I don't ever want to knock anybody that does any profession, but the college coaching takes a great deal of time away from your family. And I have a young son. I had a young son at the time. He's now 16, and he's about to be heavily recruited. And I was just missing a lot of time. I needed to get back into high school. And coaching in general just don't take up your time. Because no matter what level you're on, you're going to invest more time away from your home than you are in the home. But at least with high school, you can have your family involved more. You get home a little early. You're not on the road recruiting. You're not overnight as far as, road games. And it just made the situation a lot better for me and being able to be closer to my son and my daughter at the time. Yes. And that's probably what I've been ever since. I'm currently a high school head basketball coach right now, and I just enjoy every day.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's big time stuff right there, Coach Geth, and I completely agree with you. Man, you've had some of the greatest experiences in the world, coaching at those three colleges, playing overseas, and playing at North Carolina. I mean, you could tell a lot of people some major stuff.
Oh man, I could spend all day.
Yes, sir. Coach G, I'll kick it over to you.
Well, you know what? People don't realize. I know a little something about Huntington, West Virginia, and the Thunder and Herd. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. What years were you there?
Well, yeah. Let me see, get my years right. I want to.
Let me ask you this: what was Randy Moss there when you were there?
No, he was not. He had left. He was in right at the tail end of his NFL career when I was there.
Okay.
So he's a legend there.
Oh, without a doubt. Because actually, one of my homeboys, it was Ernest Pernsley. He was a football coach at Marshall, and that he actually was recruiting a couple of guys, and I made took my guys up. Actually, Moss was still playing when I was in high school. When I was coaching high school football, and I took a guy up to that recruiting. But yeah, Huntington is Huntington, and that place shuts down. When it's a football game, they roll the streets up, and everybody packs in the stadium. But they love the Herd. They love the Herd.
You can rob the town. On the
yeah, even the police at the games, Coach Quick. So
even the police, I'm telling you, they are in Huntington.
So he's like,
man, that is a loud, raucous arena. Trust me.
And actually now one of my former guys plays for. Actually, he just broke a record. Darius George. He just finished. He played 135 games for the Thunder Herd. He's played the most basketball games In the
Really?
in the history of the school. He's a senior. He's a fifth year senior. He was
Wow.
recruited. He was recruited by Mark Klein. Mark,
Okay.
and I know Mark forever.
Mhm.
Mark was Big Jeff's assistant coach at Fayetteville State and all the way
Oh,
through, and then he was with Jeff
okay.
when Jeff was at Oklahoma. So I've known Mark
Awesome.
basically, probably for 25 years, if not longer.
Awesome.
So all right, Coach
Awesome.
Quick, I'll kick it over to you, Coach Quick, so you can play the name game with Coach Geth, and
Awesome. This will be fun.
we'll start shutting it down.
All right. Coach Gift, on our show, we play the name game, as Coach Goins just pointed out. And
Okay.
I just want to mention a few names to you, and then
Okay.
you tell what those names mean to you.
Awesome. Oh, this is gonna be fun. All right.
First name, Maya Geth.
That is my baby girl. She is she is the reason my life changed for the better. When I had her, she's my firstborn. She's my baby girl. When I had her, I knew I had to be a model of what a man should be. You know, they say a daughter's first love is her father, and I definitely wanted to make sure I set a great example. I was raised in the church, but of course, you go to college, you go overseas, you get a little bit away, you get caught up in, doing what 20 somethings do. And I had her, and she brought me back to my roots and realized that I had to be an example, especially if I was going to coach. I ended up coaching young ladies, so she helped get my mind focused on the example I wanted to be in life. So yeah,
Yes,
that's
sir.
my.
Yes, sir. Next name, Dean Smith.
Father figure, and I had a great father. That's big to say. I had a very, very good father who was involved in everything. But once my dad let me release me to go off to college, Coach Smith became that figure. Now here I'm gonna blaspheme just a little bit. Y'all stay with me, okay? It's gonna sound like I'm talking bad, but I'm not. But your first year and a half, I want to say you absolutely. I don't want to say hate, but you really don't like Coach Smith. You don't see what everybody else is talking about. You think he is one of the worst people on earth, because you get there and everything you do is wrong. I mean, he just rides you. He'll pick a day where nothing you do is right. I want to say every freshman that came through when I was there had at least 1, maybe 2 days where they were ready to transfer. They were ready to leave. All of us. You can name it. Rashid, Stack, Jeff McGinnis, all of us that Vince Carter, all of us had one of them days when we were ready to leave. And then after about the middle of your sophomore year, you realize he's getting you mentally tough, because you have to be ready to have your emotions can't get the best of you in a crazy situation. And I'll refer to probably the greatest Duke North Carolina game that's ever played. When we played, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 overtimes. Coach G mentioned Jeff Capel, his good friend, hit a shot right in my face, and to send it into overtime. Now, if you look at the film, you see all of us. We come back to the bench, we are dejected. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe he hit that. Like, God, we can't put these guys away. Like, oh, this is it. Coach Smith looks at us and doesn't look rattled at all. And says, man, isn't this a great game? Isn't this what you guys play for? I mean, this is an unbelievable game. Now, just think about how great it's going to be when you win this game.
Wow.
No flinch. Boy, we went out and played the game of our lives. But if you're not mentally tough, you fold in that situation. If you can't handle criticism on a daily basis, you are going to fold in that situation. And you realize it takes us a minute as 18 and 19-year-olds to realize that. But you start getting it. And then after that, you realize this guy, he's preparing you like a father. So Coach Smith, father figure, basketball mind, he's the GOAT in my book. Of course, many people going to argue, but I can't see anybody that's a better coach and person and a combination of Coach Smith.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Next name, Ariane Brielle.
That's my new baby girl. That's my new baby girl. She is 2 years old and is stolen my heart all over again. I thought I was done being manipulated by my oldest daughter, who is 23. She captured again. She's something else. She's special. She's going to be, and now that I done got older, I'm a little softer than what I was when I first raised Maya. So she may get double and triple spoiled.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Next name, Bill Guthridge.
Bill Guthridge is, if Coach Smith is the father figure, Coach Gut is the grandfather figure, I guess. I think Coach Smith, people may disagree. I think Coach Smith would have been a lot softer if not for Coach Guthridge. I think Coach Guthridge is the disciplinarian of the bunch, meaning he's a stickler for time. Like, he'll give us an itinerary, and he'll say the bus is leaving at 4:56. It'd be an odd time. You know, why you just don't say 4:45 or 4:50? At literally 4:56, if you come running out that tunnel or you know, not on the bus, he closed the doors and we take off. And you have to run the next day. He is that specific of a guy when it comes to discipline, but hilariously funny. Like, he has the driest humor. You know, he walks up to you and says, "Hey, how you doing? You feel as bad as you look today?" and you answer too quick. You're like, "Well, nah, you know what, huh?" And he walks off. So he does little things like that. My favorite Coach Guest story, then I'll move on with the game because I'm enjoying this. Every year, I think everybody knows the infamous mile time. You have to run the mile. My freshman year, I came in out of shape. I'll just go ahead and get that out the way. It took me forever, so many tries to make it. I think, you know, it took me 15 tries. I might have broke a record of how many times it took me to make that time. Unbelievable. So the very next year, I'm determined. It's not gonna take me this many tries. I'm gonna get a track. I go talk to the track coach, Coach Craddock at the time. He develops me some interval training. I work out with a friend's dad who's a marathon runner, teach me how to pace myself. I'm gonna be ready. So first day on the mile, it's a little drizzly, it's raining, but not raining hard to where we're not gonna do it, but just drizzling. We still running. So we come around the last curve. He's yelling, "You can make it, you got 30 seconds." And I push and I run and I push and I dive at the finish line. And everybody runs and helps me up. He's like, "Great job, great job." And the time is 6 minutes. He looks at his watch, 6:03, see you tomorrow, and walks off.
Wow.
Right, that's what I said.
Say 6:03. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. He doesn't get it.
Man.
Oh, yeah, needless to say, I was pretty hot. But again, father figure, any job that I've ever had, Coach Guthridge wrote a glowing recommendation for me. I mean, he was a good guy.
Yes, sir. Last two names, Ed Geth Jr. and Linda Woods.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna get teary-eyed on one of those. So I'm gonna go with Ed Geth Jr. That is my namesake. That's my son. He's carrying on the family name very well. Didn't say he played basketball, but he's going to be an awesome football player. Super proud of him. He's getting recruited by all kind of schools. Our Tar Heels being one of them. I'm letting him make his own choice. I'm trying not to influence him. I would love to see him, you know, play in North Carolina, but I'd love to see him. I'm just happy he's being recruited. He's, you know, a great kid. He doesn't give me any problems. I'm very, very, very blessed to have him. Y'all be on the lookout for him. He's a 6'5.5", 300-pound offensive lineman. nasty on the football field. I'm not saying that because he's my son. He's pretty good. So I'm hoping and praying, y'all. Say a prayer for him that he, achieves his goals. He, of course, he wants to make it, but I just want him to make it to the NFL. But I just want him to be a good person, get his education. Linda Woods is the mother figure. She is. I said it earlier. She was one of the ones that spearheaded getting birthday cakes for everybody on their birthday. She was the one that made sure, you felt at home when you showed up. You come in the basketball office, especially if you had been in trouble. She would do something to try to cheer you up. If you got caught missing classes, she would just make you feel better. It's not going to be that bad. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. She was just love personified. It's so many things I could say about Miss Wood. She is the heartbeat of that program. I don't think there is a better secretary that loved Carolina more than Miss Woods. I just can't see it. I mean, she put her heart and soul into Carolina, shared her family with us. She had beautiful grandkids, brought them in the office all the time. I love Miss Woods. I could go on for days, but I love that one. She's great people.
Yes, sir. And I'd like to say just RIP to Miss Linda Woods. Absolutely. She recently passed not long ago, and just like to offer our condolences to her family.
Absolutely. Amen. Absolutely.
All right, Coach G, I'm going to kick it over to you.
Well, listen, Coach Quick, as always, man, you always tee it up, and you always had those names lined out for our guests, and we certainly appreciate you taking us down that road. So with that, Coach Geth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my closing comments, kick it over to Coach Quick, but in that, first of all, I want to thank you for your time, your talent, and your entire body of work. We know that it takes. It's demanding, and you said that, and it is. You are now in a golden opportunity to continue to pour into your players, and not just your players, the ones that will come after them, the ones that are before them, that will look back and be able to understand that you are not there by mistake. You're there on a mission. You're there on divine assignment. So we certainly appreciate you and your time and just taking us back. What a great day to be able to schedule this show on the heels of a great win last night in Durham, and to capture it with someone that played for Coach Smith and played on such a tremendous Carolina team. And we thank you for allowing us to go down memory lane and share insights of what you did for your Carolina team, your Carolina family, and everybody that you touched along the way. So with that, I want to wish you Godspeed. Coach Quick?
Yes, sir. Coach Geth, first and foremost, I just like to say thank you for accepting the invitation to come on our show. We really appreciate you. Your passion for teaching at-risk youth and coaching those kids and mentoring is unbelievable. And I imagine some days you look at those kids and just let them know you have to be broken all the way down to be rebuilt. And that means everything. So I like to bid you Godspeed. Being a part of the Tar Heel program, man, I watched you play along the way growing up as a kid, watching the team, watching Coach Smith. As Coach G told you earlier, I'm a huge Heels fan, and I just appreciate you for accepting this invite.
Listen, no problem. Listen, I'm glad. I love diehard Heel fans. I love, listening to what Carolina means to you guys, because, like I said, it changed my life for the better, and it gave me such a great family and a great way to meet great people like yourselves. And I don't know, I can't think of any better choice that I could have made in life than when I chose, other than giving my life to Christ. Amen. Nothing seems to be a better decision than choosing North Carolina.
Exactly. All right. Coach Quick, get us to the locker room.
Yes, sir. For Coach Goins, our special guest, North Carolina Tar Heel 1993 National Championship winning, and he's the current head coach and graduation coach at West Hope High School in South Carolina, Mr. Ed Geth. For myself, Coach Quick, we'll see you in the gym.
You've been listening to Basketball More Than a Game with Coach Goins and Coach Quick. Our podcast is available on podbean.com.